Quarterback and BYUtv football analyst Blaine Fowler back with us. We've had a few days to digest the Notre Dame experience. Few opportunities here or there to win that game. Overall, though, not so disappointed with the effort.
No, I was actually pleased with the way they played. We were worried about turnovers. They actually managed them. They had 2 turnovers, but that last interception, desperation time, you can't count that. So really they were even. They weren't penalized heavily, just 4 penalties in that game. They played well enough to win. I guess the big disappointment is that they matched up fine with Notre Dame. We said it would be a good matchup physically, and they just couldn't come up with enough big plays to get over the hump and win a game. And everybody's really disappointed, and I think it's more because of the combination of the 4 losses. The game against Boise State that they should have won, the game against Utah that they should have won, and you know, if they're 6-2 right now, we'd all be really happy that they lost by only 3 to a number 5 team.
But they're not. They're 4-4, and yet to have a signature win in the last 2 seasons, really since becoming an independent, and it's for those same reasons. A little bit here against Texas, a little bit here against TCU, and that pattern continues. How do you break that cycle?
That's a tough thing because it becomes a mental thing to be able to just make plays, especially down the stretch. And one of the problems BYU has is that they just don't have confidence in kicking field goals right now. There are teams in the country on that last drive that have a field goal kicker that if you have a 51-yarder that you're going to attempt, they'll go, hey, well, you know what, let's just kick a 51-yarder and tie this thing up. And that's not an option for BYU right now. They just don't have the confidence in the kicking game. So that's another thing that hurts in really tight ball games.
You know, and we talked about it in August. At some point, this kicking situation is going to come back to hurt you, and it hurt them big time at Boise State, hurt them at Utah, certainly hurt them at Notre Dame.
And if you have a great defense, you can win the game just with some field goals. And BYU does have a great defense. We're seeing that, you know, week after week, that this is a great defense. But if you have the combination of a kicking game, your offense can be mediocre and you're okay.
Let's look at the film session, and in today's film session, we'll look at one particular play that has everybody going, but let's start with what you got.
We'll start with the Cody Hoffman touchdown pass. Now, what I want you to focus on the outside, they're going to be a crossing route here. So Cody Hoffman's going to run a slant route, and in behind him, J.D. Falso's going to run an out. They're going to force these 2 Notre Dame defenders, the corner and the safety, to communicate with one another. Are they going to stay on their guys and stay with man, or are they going to switch? Well, on this play, you know, the corner and the safety don't communicate well, and when defenders don't communicate well, guys come wide open. Right here, this is when they should be saying switch or stay. Well, the safety decided to stay on his man. The corner decided they were going to switch. Now, what happens? Cody Hoffman comes clean on the back end of the end zone, and this is an easy throw and an easy catch and a wide open touchdown. It's just about communication.
That tied the game up at 7 apiece. Now let's go to a miscommunication.
Yeah, and this is on offense. You kind of have to have a feel. This is Cody Hoffman. He's going to run a seam route, and Riley Nelson's going to read zone and expect him to sit down in the middle of the field, to sit down in the middle of that zone. Pressure comes from Notre Dame on the backside, and Riley has to step up in the pocket because of that deep pressure. Here comes the pressure. Riley's going to step up. Now he's expecting that he's sitting down. Well, he's expecting him to be right here in this area. Cody Hoffman, when Riley stepped up, thought, oh, this is a scramble drill. I need to take the field, and he left where he was going to be and went further up the field.
So who's at fault here?
It's both of them, because you have to be able to non-verbally communicate and just have a feel. Here's what Riley's reading. He's reading, wait, this is zone. Corner's sitting down, backers going to the flat, the safety's running with it. I'm going to throw it. If Cody will sit down right here, this is where I'm going to throw the football. Now Cody's going to recognize, oh, wait a minute, he's stepping up. I'm going to take the field. If Riley can hold on to that football another half a second, regather, and throw the football up the field, that's a touchdown throw. If Cody just stays where he's at, that's a 30-yard completion. And so in the course of a game, there are 4 or 5 plays where if guys are on the same page and that nonverbal communication is happening, you get a big play. And, you know, we saw bad communication with Notre Dame defensively, wide open touchdown for Cody. We saw bad nonverbal communication or feel from the quarterback and the wide receiver for BYU, and a missed opportunity.
And that one hurt a little more because it would have been 21-17 BYU with 8 minutes left, and then all the pressure shifts on Notre Dame, who's trying to have an unbeaten season.
Yeah, big opportunities missed. For the most part, they played well. If you want to be disappointed, be really upset about Utah and Boise State. Those are games where BYU outmanned the teams they played. This was just 2 really good football teams, and BYU didn't make enough plays.
All right, let's shift to Georgia Tech and get to know the foe. We've got the Yellow Jackets, and they are 1,890 miles away from Lavelle Edwards Stadium, right in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia. Fans back there excited to see the Cougars roll into the South. They've got an enrollment of about 19,000 students. The Yellow Jackets play in Bobby Dodd Stadium. As you can see, they wear the white and the gold. Now, their stadium capacity is 55,000. Their mascot's a Ramblin' Wreck 1930 Ford model Sport Coupe, and Buzz, a yellow jacket. And you see they're 3-4 on the year. They're coming off a 37-17 win over Boston College. They're a completely different challenge for BYU. Notable alumni Chris Bosh for the Miami Heat, Derek Favors of the Utah Jazz, David Duval from the PGA, and former president Jimmy Carter. So who of the Yellow Jackets will we be keeping an eye on Saturday? Well,
we've got to keep an eye on Tevin Washington, their starting quarterback. He's the leading rusher on this football team, 471 yards rushing. He averages over 4 yards a carry. And how about 15 rushing touchdowns this season? Now, this is a very prolific offense running the football, and they've been averaging 37.7 points per game. They put 31 points up on number 15, Clemson. So this is a team that can move the football, and they put up 37 on Boston College in their victory this last week. Now, they lost the game against Clemson with a 31-point effort.
All right, for BYU defensively, the last 2 games in the fourth quarters, they've given up a lot of yards and a lot of points. And in the fourth quarter, they're going to be out there a long time. So who do we look for to kind of grind it out?
The pressure is on the 2 outside linebackers. When you're playing the option, these are your edge players. They've got to mix things up. They've got to force the quarterback to be confused with his reads. They've got to smack the quarterback. They've got to slow play him and get out to the pitch. And so I'll be watching Kyle Van Noy and Spencer Hadley. They've been very good all year. I think this is their biggest test, their biggest individual challenge, because they're playing a very good option team.